right, now I believe all is well. There's like 96 people already watching that, and I had to kill it. Unbelievable. All right, talking to your mic there, sir.
Here we go now.
Keep going.
We're good now?
No. Unbelievable. All right, talking to your mic there, sir.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. All right, that's that. We got a lot to get to. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Hey now, Luke's checking in live from Citizens Bank Park.
Good view tonight, Luke?
What's better, beef in the morning, afternoon, or at night?
Always at night.
Beef at night.
Ask the ladies.
And with that, let's bring it on in. Another edition here on a Wednesday evening, something that we're slowly making a thing. I like it because it allows us to get together here at night, number one, relax a little bit, number two, and, of course, have some fun with Ryan Beef Coyle. I'm Sean Brace. Beef at night, let's go! A lot to get to. We're going to argue, we're going to fight, but at the end of the day, we're going to shake hands and wish each other a good rest of the way. First of all, how you been?
Pretty good. Draft coming up, little under a week away. Going down the shore this weekend. Summer, 6 weeks away now? 5 weeks away. Memorial Day creeping up on us. So, things are looking up.
Good. Plug the tailgate.
June 14th, just secured the bus today. But June 14th, 12 o'clock tip-off, Wells Fargo out on the grass, 4th annual.
Behind Xfinity Live.
Yes.
Like on the grassy knoll.
Yep, on the grassy knoll, exactly. DJ Brace serving up the tracks. We'll have the tents again, cornhole, all the beer, pong, whatever you want to play. Should be a fun day, and Kyle Schwarber bobblehead day as well.
Yeah. All of the other Coyles will be in attendance. Who's coming? The old man, the old lady?
Mom probably not. Old man,
maybe
debatable. Sister turns 21 in a couple weeks, so she'll be.
Oh, she wasn't.
Yeah, she'll be having a time
nice.
For legal.
I invited my father-in-law.
Nice.
Yeah,
there we go.
And who knows,
Greg?
Yeah. And who knows, the
Power Hour.
Power Hour might come. You're talking to the king himself, Ram King, who's going to be doing the T-shirts, hopefully, if you connect the dots there. He was formerly known as Ram King. He's now North Penn Customs.
Okay.
He was out there in Westchester for many years doing his thing.
Ram this.
He's now a family man. All right, we got a lot to get to. We're going to have some fun here. And as I said, a nice debate to start things off because the story, as far as college football is concerned, is all about Nico. I'm not going to try and butcher his last name.
I'm leaving.
One more time.
I'm a leaving.
No, that's not it. Oh, I'm a leaving.
That can't be the first time you heard that one.
Yeah, I saw it. I read it earlier. You asked for ESPN. You want ESPN on this too? What do we?
Is that where it's on?
What the
play-in?
The play-in. So let me put the play-in on. All right. So as far as Nico is concerned, I'm not going to sit here and defend everything that is that's not what's going to happen because there has been clear errors, and I think across the way, whether the coaching staff wants to say they did anything wrong, obviously when something like this happens. And the success that they've had, he's 20 years old. He's young as hell. He is projected to be a quarterback at the next level. You tell me, where was he being recruited? Was he the number one recruit?
He wasn't. All the Arch was up there.
Arch,
yeah. So he was like,
it's always Arch.
Yeah, but he was number 3 overall, I think, in his class.
But he came in and played that bowl game down in Florida.
Yeah, against Iowa.
And that's when I'm like, okay, this kid's the real deal. Did he have an unbelievable season last year? No. Did he have a good season last year?
Yeah. I mean, if he didn't, they wouldn't have gone to the playoff.
Correct. Okay, so I would say he had a pretty good season. It's the SEC.
But why leave that situation?
Understood. And there's many questions that are going to be asked that we need to answer at this point in time. But where we're at right now, I think Nico, for me, is getting criticized. And I don't care how we got to this point, but how many coaches have done this in every single collegiate sport you name, have taken a better position, a better spot because financially they were offered more.
But he's not doing that. He's not getting more.
But
he's not.
We don't know, number one. We don't know what the
there's no way.
Okay. Again, like I said, he misplayed his hand.
Yep.
Clearly he wanted to get back home. I'm not even a college football insider. And what was the first thing I said to you? He'll
He's
end up
going
in
out
California.
Well, if it was USC, I could see it making sense, like going to play for Lincoln, like what he's done with quarterbacks. But you're going to go to UCLA and Deshaun Foster, who's been a head coach for 1 year.
Oregon was the first supposed to call too as well. So it was about
Well,
West
no,
Coast.
Oregon didn't call.
He called Oregon.
Oregon called Heupel,
Correct,
and said your quarterback's snooping around.
Yeah.
He wants out,
which I think is a little weird.
Well, it's because Oregon has the money. Dan Lanning.
Yeah,
Dan
but why are
Lanning's-
you calling Tennessee and saying that the quarterback is snooping around? Like, stick to your own, man.
Uh,
Worry about your own. People are freaking out. Like, first of all, we knew we were getting to this point. He's not going to be the only one.
Yeah, but like it's
he's a quarterback.
Once again, it's like he's not elevating. He's going to a much worse situation. He's going to make much less money. Like he was on the perfect path. He was the first quarterback to ink one of those big NIL deals. So his camp, his dad, whatever they're calling it, gets him that. Goes to Tennessee, sits out the year, plays the bowl game, becomes a starter, goes to the playoff. Has an up and down year. I think Tennessee kind of played around him at times. They hit him a little bit, but when they had a great running game and a great defense, they didn't need him to do much. But there were certain situations where he had to make some plays and he didn't really. And I think in those big spots, those big moments, he kind of held that team back. That Ohio State game was a complete waxing.
He held the team back.
I think so. I sent you that thread.
Meaning what? If there was another quarterback in there that they're going to take another step, they were beating Ohio State on the road in Ohio State.
If he was as good as he was supposed to be, as good as advertised.
He's 20.
I don't care. You got to go out there and make the plays.
Yeah, but we're asking him to be perfect in the SEC.
I never asked him to be perfect, but you got to make your layups.
All right, he missed a couple throws. You got me.
You got to hit your layups.
Well, again,
especially with Tennessee, like that's the thing with Tennessee. That's the thing with like Baylor. Back when Art Briles, they have guys just streaking wide open down the field. You saw Jalen Hyatt scored 5 touchdowns against
Briles.
Yeah,
okay.
But you saw Jalen Hyatt 5 touchdowns against Alabama because he's just streaking wide open down the field. That's the Tennessee offense, and you're going to go to a much worse situation now. It's going to be much harder on him to succeed.
Well, like I said, I would prefer him to stay in the SEC. I would prefer him to be with Tennessee. I would prefer him to continue to build on what they had last year because I thought it was a successful season, and I don't think anybody can argue that.
Yeah, Tennessee went to the college football playoff.
Why all of a sudden is he the bad guy, though, when he's doing what coaches do? That's my point. All these coaches do this every single year. And whether it's in April or September,
I think it's more
or
the
December,
timing as well.
Who cares? It's not a football season.
But if they wanted,
it's April 14th.
There was a conversation as well. Like the dad wanted him to sit out the bowl game if he didn't get more money. Not the bowl game, the playoff game.
So let me ask you. Now we're believing everything that's being reported by Josh Pate.
He's not the only one that was saying that. This report came out in ESPN in December.
I read an insider for Tennessee who has an unbelievable reputation. It's been there and said he never heard of this.
Okay. Once again, though, you're agreeing, you're believing everything that you read.
I'm not. I'm just saying.
That is what you just said.
Josh Pate all of a sudden is like this is what happened, and he was holding. It's like, all right. First of all, we know that this was a talking point in college football as a whole. That we were going to see players say, you know what, maybe I need a couple extra bucks since we're playing in a playoff game. Again, the toothpaste is out of the tube. Like everybody has gotten this correct about the who's at fault, and it's the NCAA who's continued to kick this can down the road because they were getting buku amounts of money and they never wanted to do anything until the courts told them they had to do something different. So now here we are, and I get it. Like it's frustrating. It doesn't seem cool on the surface, but we're ridiculing a player and we're damn near crushing this kid, making him out to be something that he's not because he's a damn good quarterback.
Debatable.
He's getting drafted in the NFL.
Okay.
He's a talented quarterback.
Yeah.
Good. I'll use that.
I think talented thrower of the football right now.
And speed with the legs.
Yeah. I did say last year, the one thing I took away from that Ohio State game was like he showed some toughness. Like still when they're getting killed late in the game, he was out there taking hits, running the football.
In the SEC.
Yeah, well, I was
going
talking
against the best defenses in the game. Week in, week out.
Okay, but I'm still like my thing. It's not so much like what he did was wrong. It's like what he did was stupid. You're going from Tennessee, who one of the best offensive minds, arguably, in Josh Heupel.
Okay.
Great opportunity to showcase yourself every single Saturday on ESPN, on CBS, wherever they're playing now. You're already making north of $2.5 million. So instead, we're going to transfer.
That's peanuts.
Is that though?
That's chump change.
But what did he do to deserve more? What did he do to deserve more?
He's a quarterback at a Division I program in the SEC. He deserves more.
I do you think Nussmeier's getting that?
I don't think he's as talented as Nico.
Jackson Arnold, I don't think he's getting that, who just transferred from Oklahoma to Auburn.
See, what blew my mind is hearing that about Ace Bailey at Rutgers.
But once again, it's like, is that a fact? And no, this is also.
I heard it from somebody that's on the NIL team for such university.
But this is also like, that's the money that they're just getting from the collective, that Nico's just getting from the collective. Like yours was Ace Bailey's all-encompassing probably money.
Fair.
There's no way. What was your number? 13 million?
10 plus.
Yeah, there's no way Rutgers had 10 million.
And I said that. I laid it out. I connected the dots and where this is all coming.
With everything.
Okay, well then he's not clearly making enough with everything involved if he's the starting quarterback in Tennessee.
Yeah, but who
went to a playoff game in his first time as a starting quarterback. So he's saying, pay me more money.
Yeah.
Tennessee, shame on Tennessee for not finding it.
I can see where you're saying with that, but at the same time too, like, how much money are you honestly going to make? Because it's for just the next like 6 months.
That's it.
If you're saying that he's going to be the first round pick, he's obviously going to parlay himself into much more money. But over these next 6 months, like, are you really going to give? I think he's giving up his future potentially and the chance to make hundreds of millions of dollars by putting himself in this situation, because he could go to UCLA and he could crap his pants and they could be a 3-win team. He could have a terrible year. Who knows? He could go out there and get hurt
and still get drafted in the first round.
He could.
Yep.
But I was listening to guys yesterday and like talking to scouts. They say he's talented, but he's not a good quarterback yet.
He's 20.
Okay, but like you're going to a much worse situation is my point.
Clear.
Making less money. You're living in Los Angeles now where you're probably going to make even less because of the taxes as well compared to Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Like I just think every page that you turn, it's like, well, you had a great offensive coach and a great team around you. You go to a questionable coach. I thought the thing with UCLA, they at least played hard last year, but they have a first-time offensive coordinator, first-time play caller. Andy Staples said it today, so he's going to a situation, because that was one of the reports today. It wasn't about the money; it was about the Tennessee offense. So instead, we'll go
which is weird.
We'll go to a first-time offensive coordinator calling his first ever play, because that's such a great situation.
Do you believe that as far as the offense? Because again, at the end of the day, he was drafted by, or he was brought in by Heupel with that offense.
Well, I think it's because of what I was saying earlier. It's like they hit him at some points. They hit him at some points. Like basically just like, we're going to play defense and run the football. They tried to make him to a game manager, and they probably didn't. The camp probably didn't like that.
He's not a game manager.
I know, but I'm saying at points last year, that's what they tried to make him.
Well, that would irk me too as well if I was him.
But if you're winning football games, it goes back to Jalen Hurts. Like, and then there were situations where against Alabama, I know they wound up winning that game, but I remember watching that Great American Pub rooftop. And it was like, all they needed to do is hit one of these
what was
long
the final
shots.
score? It was like 12-6.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was like they just needed to hit one of these long shots, and they eventually hit one. But there was 5-6. There was 5-6 that they had, and it's just, if he's such a great player, he makes
clearly I'm a Nico fan.
I was too.
I think he's
talented. He's fun.
He's a stud, and it's frustrating. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say he hasn't gotten anything wrong, because clearly his camp and whoever has told him it steered him down the wrong path. If ultimately it was about making more money, which I understand and I get. These days about having these guys play for, and I saw Cristobal say it about Miami. I've like all these coaches now have something to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is just funny.
Mr. Morals and Ethics.
Yeah. Like, oh, we got too many people to have bled for this university. It's like BS, dude. If he's good enough and you have the money, you would have spent and brought him in. Ultimately, what I would say is this. Like, it irks me because these coaches do it without even thinking twice. They take new gigs, get the most money they possibly could, and I understand it. Now we are in a new world where the players have the opportunities to do so, and we should accept it. Not ridicule these kids. I don't care if they get it wrong or not. If it's about making more money, then I understand it. Go and get it. These days about building your legacy at these universities and maybe, getting your jersey retired into the Ring of Honor so you're next to Peyton. Nobody cares. Those days are gone, dude. Those days are gone. These kids are transferring every single year, playing for new teams. And you know what? As long as the money is there, I have no issues with it, because is there anything better than a college experience if you're an athlete? Like, could you imagine if you're a basketball player? Oh, 1 year I get to go play for UCLA. 1 year I get to go play for UNC. Oh, you know what? Now I get to go to UCLA. Now I get to go to Florida. All right, go. Live that life, man. As long as the money's consistent, I have no issues.
But my thing is, if you think he's so great, the money shouldn't matter. Like if he's making $2.5 million this year, what's another 1.5 going to matter if he's going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft?
Well, again,
and this is over like the next 6 months. This isn't over. It's not like he's only getting $2.5 million over the next 3 years.
I just love these numbers.
He's out of there by January.
Because how do we know what's real and what's not?
That's true as well. But I feel like on 3, they do a pretty good job of having a lot of them. I think are definitely estimates, evaluations.
Yeah.
Because there's also, like you were saying with Ace, like what did Rutgers
no one's reported that?
What did Rutgers actually give him? They're like 1.5 or something, and then the rest are from everything else. Like what the number that a lot of these, whatever you want to call them, put out, I think is what the collective is giving them, not everything on the side. I think it would be a much less ridiculed situation if he had just entered the portal, after the Ohio State game, and he was in that initial first wave, and it was like, you know what,
maybe he gave him an opportunity.
But like the only situation where I think it's a smart move on his part is if it was he had, you're coming to Ohio State and you're going to be our starting quarterback. You're coming to Alabama, you're going to be our starting quarterback. USC, you're going to be our starting quarterback. I just think it's a major downgrade. He's going to get paid less. He's going to a much worse team. And I think if you're putting him on a path to go to the NFL and be one of those top quarterbacks selected, I think you made the wrong selection.
Okay. And that's
remains to be seen. Obviously, we're going to see on the field.
Yeah, and I think regardless of how bad that team is, I really don't – I think his draft stock will only take so much of a hit. Dude, last year I thought it was 1-2. I thought Arch is going 1, he's going 2.
Yeah, I think that's what.
And I still believe, and I'm going to lose that bet. Beef and I are making a wager, and I have no issues if I'm going to lose that bet. Right now, I do look crazy, but I'm going to stick to my guns. I think he's the second quarterback drafted in next year's NFL draft.
The thing about next year's draft compared to this year, it's been hyped up a lot more.
Absolutely,
in terms of there could be 5 to 6. Yeah, but I'm saying you lump him into a group of potential 5 to 6 guys that could get drafted in the first round. Because a guy like Drew Aller, like he go out there, light the world on fire this season, and he could be the number 2 pick behind Arch. We're also putting Arch at the number 1 pick, where we've only seen him 3 games.
Ooh, really?
It's still you got to go out there and play the entire season.
You got to ask the question about Arch.
Yeah,
is Arch as good as advertised?
Well, we get to find out week 1. Texas goes to Ohio State to kick off the season.
Oh, Jesus! But don't we already know enough? Like Arch.
Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, let's see it over the whole season. Like the one game I think was against UL Monroe. We saw him obviously in spurts as well. Same thing with DJ Lagway. He looked great at times last year, but people have him as the number 1 quarterback on list. Like, okay, he looked really good in spurts, but also at the same time, freaking Napier wouldn't play him the whole year. There was a reason for it. Like a lot of these guys, it's potential over production at this stage. There's like a couple guys that you can point to and be like, that was a really like this time last year, no one had Cam Ward
correct
as a number 1 pick. I know I was hyping him. I loved him to be a really good college player, but I didn't think he was going to be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft.
I look at last year's draft: Michael Penix, JJ McCarthy. Didn't Harbaugh say he's the best quarterback? I was like, all right, Jim, shut up. And the next thing you know, he's drafted 10th overall, whatever it was,
something like that.
So it's like these things change, constantly evolve. Understood. To put a bow on Nico, I think he is the real deal talent. I don't think his draft stock will take that much of a hit, regardless of what happens in UCLA, unless he plays 2 games and says, I'm not playing anymore. Then it's definitely an issue. Then there's some character flaws, so on and so forth. But if he goes out there, plays in every one of those games for UCLA, they win 5 or 6 games. Not going to be easy, especially with that travel in that conference. It's understood. But I do believe that they started to build something last year.
They did play better down the stretch.
Deshaun Foster's got their attention as a head coach, alum, so that might play. But you're right. Chip was the year before that, but still, they've been constantly trying to figure that out as far as offense. They were ugly last year. I don't know what type of impact he's going to have. One other thing I do want to say, you keep saying he's taking less money. Again, my theory is somebody calls you at UCLA and you say, I can get Nico here if we meet this number.
Yeah.
You have boosters on that 911 page.
Kind of like Michigan with Underwood.
Correct. And they're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
So I don't think he took a pay cut. I don't think he took less money. Is he getting the money that supposedly he wanted from Tennessee? No. But I would be shocked if he's not making the same amount of money or around in that general ballpark that he was at Tennessee.
Yeah, I guess it's different sports, but I know Mick Cronin, since players have been getting paid, has been bitching and complaining about.
McCronin?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know
Bitching?
that, but I'm
Complaining?
but I'm saying about
McCronin?
their money
Yeah.
compared to like he's been rumored the last 3 years for potential new jobs, and I think he's used that as kind of a way to potentially get more funding, but it doesn't sound like people are really been opening up their pockets out there. Like even USC, they were kind of in that as well. Lincoln Riley, when talked about him potentially leaving, just it's weird. Those people kind of out there on the West Coast, that's why they say in the SEC it just means more.
Mhm.
It feels like they're willing to open the checkbooks a little bit. I bet you if you pulled up the top list of programs, most of them are coming from SEC and the Big Ten. But I would probably put USC and UCLA out of 50 Power Four programs or whatever. There's is now probably in like the 40s.
Okay.
All right, you got your baby blue on.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
I did want to see him end up with Belichick.
Who they got to open up the season? Are the lines?
It's on Monday night. Remember we went over the
UCLA?
Oh no. Excuse me. I thought you were talking UNC.
Oh yeah.
UCLA. Good question. But Tansy did check in. He said Penn State and Nebraska is on the schedule this year.
On the road,
Yeah.
did he say?
Yeah.
Remember last year they started with Hawaii.
Yes.
This year they start with the Utah Utes, looking for a bounce back season.
At Utah?
It says versus Utah. I would assume that's home.
That could be a neutral site.
Yeah, on the when it says versus,
they ain't going
usually,
into Utah with it. We know
then they go at UNLV versus New Mexico.
Yeah, speaking of
UNLV is not a layup.
No.
UNLV was in the Mountain West Championship.
You're right.
Last year.
You're right.
New
however,
coach, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, let me ask you, whatever happened to that quarterback? Remember the kid that left?
Shulga? No, not Shulga. No, it might be Shulga. Shulga played at VCU too. Where did he go? That was a good question.
Yeah, Matt Sluka.
Sluka, yeah. I don't know where he went. Where he wound up going.
By playing for Sluka preserved his final year eligibility. Oh, he transferred to JMU.
Yeah, and he was originally Holy Cross, so.
Yeah, now he's one that I could sit there and say misplayed his hand.
Yeah.
And that was ridiculous. And I still don't even know what exactly happened as that season started. That's another thing, too, where that was in the middle of the year, or at least at the beginning of the year as they came off to a hot start. Nico is at least in April. Like, my man's getting raked over the coals.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, man. He's out there trying to catch a check just like every one of these other coaches.
But think from a football perspective, back to that, like, though, you're going into year 3 in a system. Now you're going into year whatever, 1 month in. You got May, June, July, August. You got 4 months to learn a system, learn all the new receivers. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I think it's not an ideal situation to be walking into. And all eyes are going to be on him. All the pressure in the world is going to be on him now. But you said it too. Like, a lot of eyes are going to be on UCLA football.
Damn right.
It's going to be interesting. But I would have liked to see him go to like Indiana or something. Go to like, probably not the best environment for him, but go to like see what Cignetti did with Curtis Rourke last year in that situation. I would have, if he was going to enter the portal, he should have done it after December because he would have had, a long list of suitors.
And it would have been great.
It would have been fun.
Yeah. All right. From one fun topic to the next. I love Beef. Beef tweets me in the middle of the night and tries to get me to give him a take on the announcer from the Atlanta Braves getting digits. It's the topic that has been beaten to death and then some. So now we're going to talk about it right here. But I love how you tweeted me in the middle of the night, hey, does this play? And I'm just like, yeah, I probably shouldn't comment on this. Next, wake up, not even 24 hours later, 7 hours later. And that video probably had 8.4 million views. Everybody has given their take on it. It's hysterical because you're seeing people write just chapters on this. Awful Announcing got 9 posts up. They had another one today. 9 posts on it. Like, it's just absurd. But that's where we live, and that's understood. So by now, if you did not know, or if you have no idea, this Braves sideline reporter went up into the stands as the Atlanta Braves. They were in Toronto.
In Toronto.
And he pulls up on two girls that are watching. It looks like it's in the upper deck. Starts just talking to them about converting them into Braves fans. And then from there, the booth announcers were having fun with him. Like, oh, you got 5 innings. You better get those digits.
Yeah.
And then that's when things got awkward. Because I thought, like, it was funny. And here he is trying to convert these Blue Jay fans, Canadians, to be Braves fans. And there it is. Keep it moving. That's it. It's lighthearted, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next step, literally gives her his phone.
Like, they could even go away from the camera on that.
And show it. And it's just like, wow, all right. But, you know, all in all, it's entertainment, right? Like, and I get it. If it rubbed you the wrong way, is it a little weird? It could be viewed as such. I get it. Like, what's he? Hey, I'm up here with these two broads, and let me, you know, like I had that vibe to it. Understood, but you know, the big takeaway for me is, and I saw this a million different times from a lot of girl reporters out there, and they were like, "Could you imagine if I did this? Could you?" And they are right about that. So I do want to say that, like, to me, the outrage and all that, I think. The people that are upset at the outrage, we need to look ourselves in the mirror, because the reason why those people are responding as such is because, like, look at Devin Caney. Like, go look at her mentions. And Devin's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Devin doesn't do anything dumb. She's not thirst trapping. She's literally a hard worker, been busting her ass for years now. The chick was out there in Boise, Idaho, trying to be a sports reporter, has worked her way up through the ranks. And, like, even if she just does something like just a dumb tweet, like a throwaway tweet, people lose it on her. So, I mean, like, that's where I think it starts and ends. Like, man, we got to look ourselves. Like, if you were bothered by the outrage, how about you? What have you tweeted? What have you said in DMs before to these people? That's where it goes. Yeah. And that's where, you know what? I think the girls do have something to say about that, because it is true. Could you imagine if a female reporter went up to two dudes and was like, yo, let me get them, digits. Like, people would be losing it. Yeah. Like the college reporter.
Yep.
Now, I want to be full disclosure. I did say some things about that college reporter, but I was more upset about the whole broom situation in his lap, and everybody was at fault, not so much just her.
The what?
Janai Broom, when she was interviewing him and she was in the middle of his lap.
Oh, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that?
No.
That was
I thought you were talking about the Florida reporter.
I am.
She was interviewing Janai Broom in his lap?
It was the Final Four.
Wait, when you said the broom in his lap, I thought it was like, what the hell?
She was.
I was like, what?
She was literally, dude. He is spread eagle, laid back. It's one of those deals. It was ridiculous. The NCAA is ridiculous for this. They put all those reporters and the players in one locker room. It's no bigger than my room right now, right? And here is Broom laid back like this, and she's literally right here. So, like, he's at fault. She's at fault for not realizing, like, you should not be in that position.
Yep.
The cameraman is at fault, but then you're like, you feel for her because she's a young student reporter. But that was a bad look for everybody. Everybody. All I know is, like, yeah, female reporters, women reporters get too much SHIT. And maybe, you know what? They have every right. Not maybe, they have every right to go BS. Because if I did that, you know what my DMs would look like, what my mentors would look like. And that's where I think, man, everybody's got to chill, because at the end of the day, that was funny. That was funny.
Yeah.
It was entertainment.
I thought cause like, even when I said to you, like, does this play? Cause even like, you know, I'm not the brightest guy, but I thought there was even a line kind of crossed there. I thought it was the weird situation was like the announcers, like, continuing to say, like, in his ear, like, come on, like, I thought, like, after, like, the first joke where he's like, all right, I'm going to get these girls' numbers. I thought, you know, pan away, go to the game. And if he's actually going to get their numbers, get it. But, like, they had the girl on there and, like, she's like, they're telling you to get my number? Like, you don't just want it? And they're like, no, like, they're literally saying it to me. And, like, this is all on the camera while, like, a baseball game's going on. It's not like it was rain delay or something like that. So I thought it was weird, but it was, once again, it's
innocent humor.
Yeah.
That everybody got all bent out of shape about. But like I said, that was the one thing that hit me more than anything. It was like, you know, the girls, they can't use social media. Girls can't use social media. If they do, you know, like it's
they do.
I know, yeah, they do. And then there's so many ways that you could take that conversation. I haven't dipped my toe into that water, But there are plenty of dudes out there that are frustrated at the thirst trap girls out there. Like point blank, you'll see one girl who is in sports, and one day she's got 3,000 followers, and the next thing you know, she has 30,000 followers. Yep. It's not because she's breaking down the game.
Yeah.
It's just like, with all love and respect. Now, not all. Yep. I'm not painting everybody with that brush, but I get it. So there is, people that would put out some backlash on that front. Understood. But that's why I say, I think we all need to just take a freaking chill pill collectively and just have a little laugh and move on about our day. Awful announcing does not need to do 9 posts on it.
Well, did you see the video yesterday? It panned to him. He's in the outfield, on the concourse.
He's riding the hot dog.
riding the hot dog. It's like, all right, it wasn't really keeping him up at night.
No, because dude, it's entertainment, it's television. Like, and again, I said it about girls mentions. It happens with everybody. Like, you get on the show and you say something dumb, or in a video we clip up, people are going to get in your mentions. Now, it obviously takes a step up when you're on a television show or a Braves announcer. Like that guy,
the FanDuel TV network.
That guy's been ridiculed over everything from day one. So, he knows what he's getting into. Mm-hmm. He knows that once he approaches those two girls, like, there goes my mentions. Like, that's an insider joke. That's exactly what everybody says.
I wonder what the chicks are feeling like now, though. Do you think there was a text message once he actually got the number? Or no, after you embarrassed me on national TV?
Well, the funny thing was, what I was thinking was, what if they really hit it off?
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, it was like, yo, I'm engaged, man. Like, now what? Now awesome. What do you say?
Yeah,
like,
laugh at us now.
You're always mad, and now what? Like, they just found true love. Like,
she came over to the U.S., got her her what is that, visa?
Well, it'll be
green
the 51st
card?
state. It's Canada.
That's legal? I don't know.
No, it's stupid.
I also love how it's the FanDuel Braves network or whatever. Like, that's what it's actually called.
Yeah.
And if anyone ever involved in this bet on those games, they're gone. And now it's the FanDuel TV Sports Network.
Well, it's better than nothing, because I think that's what they were dealing with, was that if FanDuel didn't step up, there was a whole, I don't know, because I could be wrong on it, but like the Sinclair, and then you saw FanDuel get involved, and who knows what the future is with television, because it's just so ridiculous with these prices, and you got to have every streaming app possible. And then, like, for the Masters this weekend, I canceled my ESPN Plus subscription.
You couldn't watch.
Like last year, I was like, I got a Disney account. If I really need ESPN Plus, I could pull it up. I don't know. Was it? Yeah, I didn't have it during college football. I don't know. Like, I never had an issue with it. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden the Masters come around, and I'm like, I can't watch. What's going on? And it's just so frustrating, because YouTube TV used to be cheap. Now that's increased. So
you got to move in with 4 other dudes.
That's it. You gotta. If I keep up what I'm doing, I'll be asking for a room over there.
Well, we got a new one, or we got an empty room, and we just got 2 futons in it today. Actually, nice rug.
What? Somebody move out?
No,
already?
No. We've had 6, but the one room's just been empty.
Let me tell you, dude. Just one weekend. Just one weekend.
A half a mile away from where you already live.
All right. Anything else as far as the dumb reporter is concerned? Hey, it's people who are like, it probably wasn't even real. That's how I view everything these days. And I don't know if it's just such a pessimistic or, the wrong way to view it. Anything I see, I just don't believe.
I also thought it was kind of funny where at first it sounded like he was like going up there and getting both, but he just locked in on the one. And then the other friend was kind of just standing there.
Who's the better looking one?
The one was more in like the dark. I didn't get as good of a look at her.
She might have had a ring.
She could have. What if the blonde had a ring and she didn't know she was on national TV?
That would not have been good.
That would have been another story.
Then I would have had a huge issue with the announcer for doing what he did, because you can't mess with people with rings on. All right.
Phillies season's over.
Yeah, Phillies are getting dominated at this point in time. 9-4. San Francisco's a good team.
Yeah, they've hit the ball very well.
They're good in April. I don't know if we'll be saying the same thing in August, but they're good in April at this point in time.
Well, I saw we're still on pace for 95 wins as of today.
Oh, that's it?
The sky is falling.
The sky is falling. All right, you did just do a mock draft. So I want to talk about Shador and Travis Hunter.
Okay.
In Colorado retiring the numbers.
Terrible. Dumbest thing I've ever seen. and we just talked about some dumb stuff in college sports, but I saw today Tim Tebow's numbers not even retired by Florida.
Jeez.
Shador Sanders he won 1-11
I think
2
he's
years ago.
500.
500 if they're lucky. I don't even maybe 500.
So, like, I do want to give them the credit. Like, Travis Hunter will be the highest selected player Colorado will ever have.
And he won a Heisman. I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
Shador doesn't need to go up there. Obviously, we know it's Deion. And I think a lot of people have, maybe 10, 15 years down the line, say Colorado goes on and on. It's like, these guys built the ground. These guys built the foundation. I could see Deion doing this because he's like, all right, I'm ready to bolt. Let me make sure I got this done.
Sure.
Can you unretire numbers?
No, I don't think so.
I think there probably needs to be a scandal or an allegation of some sort.
I don't know. Once you retire a number, I think that's it. But I was like, wait a minute, what? And then you look up what Colorado did, and back in the early 90s, they were a much successful team with some good players, and none of those guys were retired. It's just like, whoa.
Yeah. Like I saw people making the deal. I mean, I didn't get to watch him ever, but Cordell Stewart, they said if his number's not retired.
Yeah, Cordell was a badass.
But I mean, Travis Hunter won the Heisman. That's the most lofty individual award in college football. I could see that, but does it need to be 5 months after they played their last game, 4 months after? Especially Shador. Like Shador is a good player, but once again, it's like that Tim Tebow thing stuck out to me the most. Like when I think college football, is just USC retired Reggie Bush. I know there was a scandal with that, but it's like the unretired thing. Like I was saying, like just say Florida retired Aaron Hernandez's number. You don't think that they would unretire that?
Yeah.
Or maybe whatever, bring him out of the Ring of Honor of some sort. Like put him in like the Ring of Honor. But it's because it's Prime's son.
Well, that's it. And that's exactly it. Like you can create those sort of deals, the Ring of Honor, make a big deal. Look, that type of stuff is all about promotion. It's all about marketing, understood. But retiring a number is retiring a number. Yeah. That's wild.
You run out of numbers.
Yeah,
eventually.
That is wild to me that their numbers are being retired. Again, Travis Hunter, I could get down with. Again, he's probably going to be the most talented, highest expectations for a player to ever come through there. Who knows though? Deion is a different. If Deion stays there for 10, 15 years,
just sign the extension though.
Crazier things could happen there. So with that, putting that to the side, as far as the draft is concerned, the Shador Sanders nonsense, him falling. I saw a video yesterday on VSiN. This guy who, look, David Behrman, he does a great job. He has Shador slide into 20. No way.
20
overall.
21. To Steelers or 21?
I think Seahawks at 20.
I think that was 18. Unless they did some trades. Broncos are 20, I believe.
Are they? So where are you at with the thought process of how it's a quarterback? They're always going to be elevated and they're going to be taken higher than what they should. And a guy like Shador Sanders is a good quarterback, right?
Yeah. Is he a first round quarterback? And that's like when I say first round, I mean first round based off talent. Like Howie said it yesterday at his press conference. He said there's never been a draft where you have 30, like they're saying that this is a bad draft. There's never been a draft where we've had 32 first round grades on players. This year is no different. So it's one of those things like people are going to get drafted ahead of them just because you have to make a selection. Quarterback's obviously one of those situations, but you look at guys in the past like EJ Manuel or Christian Ponder.
I liked EJ Manuel too.
Yeah, I did. But you look at those guys and they were drafted over their head because of need. Like even you look at Cam Ward at number 1 for the Titans. Any other draft, does he go number 1? Probably going to be like a 15, 16, kind of in that range type of quarterback where he would get selected. But he's not a guy that you're looking at like, oh, that's the number 1 pick in the draft. But also you look at a guy like Patrick Mahomes. Where did he get selected? 10th? Mm-hmm. Obviously, you redo that draft and he's going number 1 every time. Josh Allen, you look at his draft, he's going up there too. It's like it's not a perfect science, but it's a situation where you look at some teams in the top 10, like do the Giants take a swing on them? If you're Dable or Shane, why would you?
Yeah. Well, if you have to.
Why though? Like you
because
do you think Shador is going to help you win more games next season than Russ or Jameis? And I'm not a big fan of either Russ or Jameis, but it's like your job is on the line. If you don't win at least 9 games, I don't think you're going. I think Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston would give you a better chance to win 8 or 9 games next year than Shedeur Sanders.
I could get down with that. What I could also see is that it's the desperate move where you put Shedeur in and they win 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, 3 out of 4, whatever it is, something crazy.
But also
and that could save your job.
But also see ownership saying, like, this is a 1-year deal for both of you. Like, I'm not letting you draft a quarterback. And then the next regime of GM and head coach come in and they're like,
what a disaster.
How
could you sit there and say that to your
exactly. But that's the situation they've put themselves in. Like, if they did want to take a quarterback and these guys don't want one, then I would have clean house last year. It also could be a situation too where you look at it, it's like, all right, the owner wants a new quarterback. We're taking Shedeur.
I think the Giants, it would be in their best interest to grab Abdul Carter at 3 and then trade back up and grab a quarterback.
I could see that too. I don't know exactly what their capital looks like, but it's not like they have 2 first-round picks. But it could be a situation where, like, Dart slides or Shedeur slides. Jalen Milroe got invited to the green room,
which is always something that should be.
It's an eyebrow raiser.
Yeah, it would catch your attention.
And he said he's going, so like he must have heard some intel as well.
Yeah, but he could easily be a second-round pick.
Yeah, he could, but like there's only 17 guys.
There's a guy by the name of Lamar that was
Well, that was first. That was first. That was Dallas Goedert.
Correct. Yeah, but still, it was late.
Yeah,
and Milroe. I did like him, but I don't think he's got the accuracy. But he's a hell of a
same
talent.
Thing about Jalen.
Yeah. Well, I would look at the Giants, and I think it would be in the Giants' best interest to try and do something like the Houston Texans did.
Yeah, but the thing with the Texans, they had the ammo. So the Giants really have
to collect
because they had to go up to 3.
But
they went from like 10 to 3, I think.
But Anderson. To get Shedeur, maybe they only have to get to 8.
Yeah,
maybe they only have to get to 9 with the Saints. Now, who knows what's real and what's not there? But Jackson Dart, is he going to be a first-round pick?
Sounds like it.
Is he going to be a top 15 pick? Is he going to be a top 10 pick?
I think it's at 9. It's who does Kellen Moore view as his guy going forward? A Jackson Dart or a Shedeur? And when you look at the quarterbacks that Kellen Moore has dealt with, Jalen, Dak, Herbert, I think Jackson Dart fits more of that than Shedeur, who's strictly like a pocket guy. That's like, I think that's one of the most fascinating parts about Shedeur. Like, he's not a great athlete. Like, guys, like analysts say, like if he ran a 40, it would probably be like 4.85, 4.9. And when your dad's freaking Deion Sanders, it's crazy that he didn't get any speed to him.
Well, the thing about Shedeur for me is I think more than anything, mentally, he's ready for the next level.
Yeah.
That is a guy that's battle tested. It's been there. He had to run around like a maniac these last 2 seasons with Colorado, still made plays. I do like his accuracy. It's the mental makeup more than anything for me that I would say I'll take a shot on him. And if I could be honest too, marketing, like, dude, come on, man.
Oh yeah.
That's Deion's kid, like, God forbid if he can play. If he can play a lick, look out. You're going to be able to, like, he's going to be a fan favorite. He's going to be polarizing. They're going to be lighting up the phone lines.
I think he's going to be the guy, like, especially if he went to the Giants, like, Eagles fans are going to absolutely despise. It's going to be like, if you love him, if you have him.
Yeah.
But if he's going against you, you're going to absolutely hate him.
Well, look, if he can play, then it's a different story. But if he can't play, then no one's going to respect him. He could play at college, different ball game. And I think what separates the men from the boys as far as college versus NFL, it's mental. There's a reason why Tony Romo was able to make his career last as long as he did. It's because he processes the game better than most. And that's the difference for these guys, right? Mm-hmm. They're all amazing players. They're all Mr. State as far as in their sports. They can play, all these games, baseball, basketball at a high level. And then you get to the pros and it's like, oh, well, what's the difference between this guy? Because the expectations, it's here. It's inside the brain. Yep. And I think we should all understand that by now. There's been enough case studies, to say the least, and specifically Tom Brady will start in there.
Yeah.
All right, let's close up shop on this one. Sixers running everybody back. You cool with that?
I just, if you're able to get that top 6 pick, I am. If not, I would probably lean more towards kind of blowing it up. I wouldn't be opposed if you did have the chance to get a Cooper Flagg or an Ace Bailey or a Dylan Harper, one of those guys, throw them in the mix and basically say, we'll give this thing kind of one more run. If not, I would look to blow it up. But once again, who's taking on that Embiid contract, who's taking on the Paul George contract. They're in a very sticky spot where the lottery is the 12th. There's a very good draft. They're able to get one of those top 6 picks, and Embiid is 75% of himself. Paul George is 75% of himself with the young talent. I think it'll at least be, knock on wood, if everyone's not breaking every bone in their body next year, a better season. I think the one silver lining from this year, you saw some of these young guys can play. Like you saw a Jared McCain at times look like a potential star. Justin Edwards, undrafted, looked really good in moments. Bona looked good in moments. Quentin Grimes, hell of a 25, 30 stretch, potential steal
he
there.
played that many games?
Yeah,
oh my
it was
goodness. Yeah,
acquired at the deadline.
Yeah, he did.
Probably averaged like 25 points a game over like a 2-week
They
stretch.
had to sit him. He was too good.
Didn't he have 51 night? He had like 51. Yeah. So you found some guys that could play. You just kind of got to hope that some health falls your way this year. But it's all Monday, May 12th, when the lottery balls dictate, I think, the future of this franchise.
Monday, May 12th?
Yep.
Oh, we got a little ways away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say running it back is not the correct move, but I don't know what
you're tied to too many things.
Yeah, and it's brutal. There are some victories for Daryl Morey that he could tie his what is he, the president?
Yeah,
his presidency too, and specifically starting with the draft picks, like he's picked pretty well, but he's all in with Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid is not going to be healthy.
Yeah,
that's it, man. I'm not a doctor, but come on, man. Like let's just
put 2 and 2 together.
Let's just be like smart about this, right? Like if you go into expecting Joel Embiid to play more than 50 games in a regular season,
no.
I just think you're off your rocker.
Like he's gonna be ramping up.
He's cooked, man. He's cooked, and the next thing that people are going to be selling us is like, don't play him until May. Yeah. Don't play him until April. Like that's what's and it's almost like I don't even want JoJo to even go through that. Like we care about the big man. We don't want to see him end his career like this. But as far as like the approach to next year, it can't be revolving around Joel Embiid. It cannot. They got to go in with Maxey and McCain and Paul George trying to do what he can do. Look, I mean, Paul George ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Do you bring Paul George off the bench?
He'll be smiling with 51 mil hitting the count.
Yeah, he would probably force his way out. He'd be like, I ain't no bench player.
Didn't you say he's
building
some real estate
building around here?
Yeah. Why?
It just blew me away when I heard that.
Yeah, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever
building
heard.
A house in Philadelphia.
You have to think he'd jet right away after getting out of here.
I don't know, man. Maybe the podcast industry is lucrative for him. Good for him, though. All right, well, the Sixers running it back is not how we wanted to end it, but unfortunately, that's where we're at right now. We did hit all of my notes on that one. Once again, Orion Beef Coyle can be found on socials. Orion Coyle 35. Beef up front, the tailgate.
Yes, sir.
June 14th.
June 14th.
Take it on the Toronto Blue Jays. Party starts at noon. All are welcome. Come one, come all. Need to get a link, though, for some sort of charity.
Yeah. That'll be my project for the weekend.
And order T-shirts.
Yep.
All right. Anything else you want to get off your chest?
Let's have a good weekend. Happy Easter to all those who celebrate.
I can't believe it is Easter this weekend.
Yeah. Everything's coming way too fast.
Did you watch the Masters?
I did, actually. I was tuned in for a good amount. Broom in
the lap. I mean, look, he's all laid back. You didn't see that?
But you just made it look even worse. You're just like, he's got this broom.
It was about as bad as it could get. And
I thought something else.
Who's working hard? God bless her.
Yeah, and now you keep doing that.
God bless her. She had no idea what she was doing, which is unfortunate. But somebody needed to step in and go, wait a minute. And Broom was at fault. The cameraman was at fault. She's at fault. NCAA is at fault for putting everybody in one room. They did that on purpose. They do that on purpose. You know why they do that on purpose? Because you get the gaggle of reporters around and you hope that one of these young kids, and these kids aren't kids anymore, right? They're all 25, 26 years old. It's absurd. What did I hear the other day? Did I hear a quarterback played for like 6 years?
Tyler Show, the quarterback, he's one of the projected top quarterbacks.
How many years? 7 years.
Yeah. Is this the one that you're talking about?
That's it.
Yeah, she is a little close.
That's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
Like, come, and he should be, he knows better than that, too.
There she
Mackenzie.
goes. Cut it
Shout
off
out.
there.
Philly girl.
Yep.
She's doing well on CBS. What is she? Sorority girl doing this sports gambling thing.
Yep.
God bless
That's
America.
why CBS Sports was on, right?
It's always on. CBS Sports is locked on. VSiN and CBS Sports normally there.
We got to get out of here before we get in trouble.
Yeah, it's all right. Ryan Beef Coyle once again. Follow him on socials. Beef at Night here. Keep it locked to the Gambler. If you miss anything, at FoxPHLGambler.com.